Yeah, hey, Blind Guy doing stuff here today, and we're going to do a video real quick on the Trump administration and their view on cannabis and how it might affect the cannabis industry. So we're going to talk real quick about what is the current status of cannabis on a federal level, what is Trump's view about cannabis, and then he appointed Jeff Sessions to Attorney General and Tom Price to the Department of Human and Health Services. And so we're going to, and those two figures are have some controversial statements around cannabis in their past. So we're going to talk about that, and then maybe just a little ray of hope that we may have by the appointment of Jeff Sessions. So the current view of the federal government on cannabis is basically look the other way in most cases. Now the DEA and government has still been raiding people. They had a thing here in the Kettle Falls Five out here in Washington, a terrible case. I don't really want to get into it, but the federal government is still prosecuting people for marijuana, so they haven't turned their cheek completely. But basically, in the Cole memo released in 2013, they said, okay, you do these 8 things, and we'll not prosecute your cannabis business. So that the 8 things include things like youth access and letting cannabis over state lines. So far, they've stuck to their word on that for the most part. And now we have, I believe, including Las Vegas or Nevada, which is cannabis is decriminalized. We're up to 9 states that have the recreational marijuana and 28 states that have medical marijuana, plus DC. Here's a stat for you. All but 6 states in the United States have some type of cannabis law that includes CBD, high CBDs. All but 6. So the federal government has sort of been hands off, especially with CBD. Now here comes Trump. He's been elected, and he seems to be wanting to just throw the apple cart over on everything. And so where does he stand on marijuana, cannabis? So in the past, Trump has been somewhat vague on recreational marijuana. Bill O'Reilly tried to press him on the issue on an interview last year in February, about a year ago, and Trump said Bill O'Reilly was trying to say there was no such thing as medical cannabis, that the thing in Colorado was out of control, and Trump kind of said, no, no, we'll have to check into the recreational marijuana, but I actually know people who use medical marijuana, and they use it and it's real. And since I'm quoting Trump, I'd say that again. They use it and it's real, and they use it and it's real. Marvelous, terrific. It's terrific for them. So he is for medical marijuana, apparently. But he appointed Jeff Sessions to Attorney General and a congressman by the name of Tom Price to, as I said, to the head of the DHHS. So let's talk about Jeff Sessions first. So Jeff Sessions, as Attorney General, will be the top cop of the United States. So he's the guy who decides who's going to get prosecuted, what's going to get prosecuted, what is going to be happening when it comes to law enforcement in the United States. In the past, Jeff Sessions has said things like, I used to like the KKK until I found out they smoked pot. Let that one sink in, kind of let that one sink in for a minute. The guy is okay with the Christian terrorist group until he found out they smoked marijuana. So that kind of tells you where he stands on that. And then in the recent statement, I believe it was last year, or maybe 2 years ago, he said good people don't smoke marijuana, and then he doesn't said that the Obama policy of just looking the other way is not tenable, which that's actually true. It's not tenable, and they need to fix it. And that this will sort of be our bright spot we'll talk about at the end, is what Jeff Sessions and cannabis could mean. So this Sessions guy, he's not friendly to cannabis, and being from Alabama and knowing his type and kind of who these guys are, I don't want to call him any names or anything. Sort of this upper aristocratic Southern white guy. They're not pro cannabis. They're not. Um, Now their kids and all their good old boy cousins are there are. Alabama has a lot of cannabis, and then a lot of in the KKK. I mean, all the KKK type good old boy types I know in Alabama smoke cannabis, so it's big there. So, but he's against it, and now we come to this other guy, Tom Price. Now Tom Price, he is he has never given a public statement on his views on cannabis, but he has a -10 score from normal, and he, in the past, has voted against medical marijuana, and he's voted against letting the VA uh, prescribe or make cannabis okay for veterans. So he is in his votes against cannabis, and he's a conservative from Georgia. So I'm guessing for the most part he is against cannabis. But he has been pro CBD, and Georgia does have a CBD bill, a actually low THC bill. You can get you can have in Georgia if you're registered um, legally 20 ounces of 5% or less THC oil. So, I mean, where you get it and how you get it in Georgia, but you can't get arrested if you're registered with it. So, um, there is some hope there with Tom Price as far as the CBD goes, but you just never know. I would say that we're probably not going to have any more marijuana research, marijuana funding underneath uh, Tom Price, but hopefully Trump will instruct him to make medical marijuana legal. So that would be a good thing because I've read several interviews with Trump, and he seems to be pretty pro marijuana. And I don't know if you notice anything. Once Trump makes his mind up on something, I don't think he's going to change his mind. So if he's like really pro marijuana, medical marijuana, that's a good thing. Um, but it's Trump, so I don't know how good it can actually be. But anyway, so here's the bright side of this. So the bright side of Jeff Sessions becoming Attorney General and having this view on cannabis is Jeff Sessions is a strict. He likes to say he's a strict constitutionalist, and I saw some of his hearing when they were interviewing him in the Senate, and he is basically saying, okay, I'm the Attorney General. My job isn't to enforce the law. I don't make the law. If you want marijuana to be legal or cannabis to be legal, the Congress needs to pass a law and make it legal. Now, that could actually put pressure on the Congress, Jeff Sessions, because I don't think they're going to crack down on it. Honestly, I don't think Jeff Sessions and Donald Trump are going to be cracking down on marijuana. It is such a big business. Like I said, there's all but 6 states have some type of marijuana law in their border. 9 recreational states, 28 medical marijuana states. DC has both. So he's not going to turn it back. But Jeff Sessions saying, hey, Congress, if you want it legal, then you need to pass a law to make it legal. We could actually get a law in through the Congress to pass marijuana and make it legal. That is a possibility. Or another possibility is, Jeff Sessions comes in and I have no doubt they're going to try to go through and maybe find some bad players, so-called bad players, and bust a couple people. That's just like the Trump administration. So we could see some turmoil in the cannabis industry. I don't want to be all rosy about it. This could be a problem for some people. And there is a fair amount of illicit market still going on coming out of some of the recreational outlets in Colorado. I've heard. So there's still illicit cannabis market going on. Whether that's good or bad, I'm not going to say, but this is not going to be just rosy for cannabis going forward with Jeff Sessions as Attorney General. Okay? It's not. And it's not going to be rosy with Tom Price either. And so hopefully that we can get some laws passed to get this finally legalized in Congress. So just to end up the video, if you are a Trump supporter, or if you're any kind of supporter, get on your phone and you need to call your congressman and say, hey, we support cannabis and we want it legal and we want medical marijuana legal in the United States. That's how you're going to get this change. So I am the blind guy doing stuff. I really hope that these guys don't crack down on cannabis. I live here in Washington State. It's a big business here, so we don't want it to. I can't imagine going back to having to live under cannabis prohibition. And if you do live in a state in cannabis prohibition, you can get that changed, but you're going to have to work hard to get it done. So call your congresspeople, call your people, get a couple of your friends to call, and let's get this legalized throughout the country finally. And Trump may or may not be the guy to do it. You just can never tell with this guy. So that's a little update on the Trump and Tom Price view on cannabis and what may or may not happen. I am the blind guy doing stuff. Check me out on YouTube, or check me out other places on the internet. So hope everybody has a good day. Take care.
Studio mode. Stop recording button.